The recently concluded German election has marked a significant shift in the country's political landscape. Friedrich Merz and his Christian Democratic Union, the CDU, and its Bavarian sister party, the Christian Social Union, CSU, have both emerged victorious. This conservative victory comes after a 3-year hiatus from power. Merz is now poised to become the next chancellor of Germany. The election results also highlight the rise of the far-right Alternative for Germany, or AfD party, which achieved its best ever performance, securing more than 20% of the vote. In fact, AfD has become the second largest party in the Bundestag. But what are going to be the new chancellor, Merz, and his priorities? What is his stand on the Ukraine peace plan? What are his views on European independence from American foreign policy? And what may be the implications of the success of the far-right AfD? Friedrich Merz's cdu-csu alliance won the election with a voter share of more than 28.5%. That would roughly translate to a little over 200 seats in the Bundestag. However, this is short of the 316 seats that is required to form a government alone, which means Merz will have to find a coalition partner. The most likely coalition partner is the Social Democratic Party, the outgoing party of Chancellor Olaf Scholz, which secured 16.4% or about 120-odd seats. Together, the Christian Democrats and the Social Democrats would have a comfortable majority of over 320 seats. This is how Angela Merkel, one of the most successful German chancellors, ran her coalition for a large part of the 16 years that she was in power. The new chancellor, Mr. Merz's top priorities are likely to include economic recovery, immigration reform, and enhancing Germany's international presence. He has emphasized the need for a strong economy. He's been critical of the previous government's handling of economic issues. Additionally, the incoming Chancellor Merz has also signaled a desire to reassert German influence on the global stage, particularly when it comes to the rest of Europe. Merz has been vocal about the need for Ukraine to win the war against Russia and restore its original territorial integrity. He's pledged continued support for Ukraine and emphasized the importance of involving Europe in the negotiations to end the conflict. His stand aligns with a broader European sentiment, but it is in direct contrast with US President Donald Trump's approach, which has hinted at being much more conciliatory towards Russia, having talks separately with the Russians without either the Ukrainians or the rest of the Europeans as part of that room. Merz, on the other hand, insists that Europeans have to be in the room when these peace talks happen because it reflects a broader desire to assert European autonomy when it comes to how to end the Ukraine war. This could potentially put him at odds with Donald Trump, who's expressed a desire to end the Russia-Ukraine war quickly, and he favors direct negotiations with the Russians as opposed to bringing the Ukrainians or the other Europeans into the negotiations. Germany so far has committed to or delivered military assistance worth approximately 28 billion euros to Ukraine. This includes both lethal and non-lethal military equipment, the Leopard 2 battle tanks, the Gepard anti-aircraft tanks, the Marder combat vehicles, and the Patriot and Iris-T air defense systems. Additionally, Germany has also provided military training to over 10,000 Ukrainian soldiers. In the aftermath of the election, the new Chancellor Merz has called for Europe to become more independent from the United States, particularly when it comes to defense matters. He was speaking, of course, metaphorically. This is partly in response to US President Donald Trump's statements, which have raised a huge amount of concern about America's commitment to European security, about America's commitment to the war in Ukraine. Merz has suggested that Europe should enhance its defense capabilities. It should potentially even establish a European nuclear umbrella. Right now, Europe's security guarantees, its almost nuclear umbrella, is guarded and kept through promises through the transatlantic alliance, or NATO, where America is the underwriter, in a sense, of Europe's security. But this shift towards greater European autonomy could lead to tensions with the United States. Merz's government intends to pursue policies that are divergent from the traditional transatlantic alliance, a divergence that's been brought about by Trump himself. However, it also reflects a broader European desire for self-reliance in the face of the global uncertainty that's been unleashed after Trump's election. Last week at the Munich Security Conference, US Vice President J.D. Vance received a lot of flack from Germans and the Europeans who had gathered there that the time for free lunches in the transatlantic alliance were over. There is a growing feeling that NATO is going to split up, with America on the one side and its European partners on the other. Vance even met with Alice Weidel, who's the leader of the far-right AfD party, which has now become number 2 in the incoming German parliament. Vance had also condemned what was a German mainstream consensus about not wanting to ally or not wanting to legitimize the AfD. Vance said there are no pariahs in politics. Merz's stand on European independence and his support for Ukraine could put him on a collision course with Trump. Trump has indicated a desire to reduce American military presence in Europe. He is skeptical about NATO and its relevance. He's very harsh on Europe not paying up more for its own security. Merz, on the other hand, sees NATO as crucial, but he believes that Europe must take responsibility for its own defense. This is similar to the idea that was floated by French President Emmanuel Macron some months ago about Europe raising its own European army. The potential for conflict between Trump's views and Merz's views, particularly when it comes to the threat that emanates from Russia and the threat that is very much well and alive through the Ukraine war, that definitely puts the incoming German chancellor and his ideas on a collision course with the US president. Merz's rhetoric during the elections also suggests a deepening rift between traditional allies, America and its European partners, and this could have profound global implications. But that is not his only worry. The main opposition in the new German Bundestag will be the Alternative for Germany, or the AfD party. It's achieved its best ever result in any election, securing 1 in 5 of German voters. This marks a significant shift in German politics. The AfD has now become the second largest party. The AfD's success is notable for breaking the unspoken consensus in German politics against mainstreaming far-right ideologies, those ideologies which have historical associations with Nazism and fascism. The AfD has been criticized in the past for its stand on immigration. It has got perceived links to extremist ideologies, all of which it has tried to soften in the months leading up to the election. Despite these controversies, the AfD has managed to capitalize on voter dissatisfaction with the mainstream parties, particularly when it comes to immigration and the high cost of living. Friedrich Merz's election as the next Chancellor of Germany marks a significant moment in European politics. His priorities will focus on economic recovery, immigration reform, and enhancing Germany's international presence. The coalition between the Christian Democrats, their partners the CSU, and a likely coalition with the SPD could provide for a stable government, but Merz's stand on Europe and its independence and its autonomy when it comes to matters regarding Ukraine, that could lead to very deep tensions with the United States. Also domestically, he will now have to confront with a new political enemy, which is the AfD, and its success has represented a seismic shift in German politics. The rise of AfD challenges the long-standing consensus against mainstreaming far-right ideologies. This development underscores the complexities and the challenges facing European democracies as they navigate issues of identity, security, and economic stability. As Merz is now at the helm to lead Germany for the next 5 years as it navigates these challenges, his ability to balance European autonomy on the one hand, along with cordial transatlantic relations, that is going to be a huge challenge. The coming months will reveal whether his vision for a more independent Europe can be reconciled with the interests of other global partners, particularly the United States. It seems like Trump and his European partners are on an inevitable collision course.